episode 102 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Andy Pursell. We'll get to him in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie. Here's Brian.
What's happening, y'all? Yeah, another week, another episode. Continue it. And yeah, man, this was a really fun interview. Sorry you missed it. This was cool with Andy, and we had a good talk about a whole bunch of stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed it, but I'm I listened back obviously, and I wish I was there. There's some things that you guys talked about, which I'm sure I'll jump into later, but yeah, no, it was great. Thank you for stepping up, and not even that, but also this past weekend you had your gig at Reckless Town, so
Yeah,
busy couple weeks for you in the solo world. So yeah, everything was great with that show too.
yeah, that was fun. People on the video will see I have a gnarly farmer's tan from it, standing outside for 2 hours, no sunblock, of course, and yeah, I felt it the next day. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So normally we haven't in a while talked about like any like news or anything, but something came across that I think I don't know, just kind of thoughts on it. I'm sure you saw already that a couple days ago Morgan Wallen is taking 6 weeks off for vocal rest. Hate to speculate, but do you think that's actually true, or what do you think's his actual what's going on?
So, from a vocalist side, he sounds like he strains his voice when he sings. Like it's hard to explain, but the tone that he gets out of his voice, it sounds like it's, you know what I mean? It's not proper technique. So yeah, I mean, I could see where he could have some vocal damage, especially doing a couple of shows a week, and they're long shows, you know. I mean, we just talked about my gig that happened, last week or this past weekend, and two hours of singing straight right afterwards. I don't know if you heard my voice, but it's just like it's crackly, you know what I mean? And it's a muscle that has to get used properly and stuff. So I want to hope that's what it is, and I surely think so. I definitely think that he probably needs to find some vocal technique to try to keep that tone that he has and stuff, and do it safely.
Yeah, I would agree that I personally hope and think that it is related to mute the vocals and the putting on that performance. But the thing that when I first saw it, that's immediately what I thought. And then all the comments start coming in, the oh well, he didn't play that show because the security guard said he was drunk, and now it's 6 weeks off. Is he going to rehab? Like, so yeah, I'm hoping that it's all true, and I wanted to bring it up because the singing aspect of it, and hearing that. So
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully that's good. Yeah.
I definitely think that it's actually something to do with his vocal cords. Yeah, I'm a firm believer of not believing in hearsay for certain things,
Yeah.
and a security guard that gets hired by the venue doesn't know shit about what's actually going on backstage. Man, there's a reason why he's sitting up front of the stage and not backstage with the artist. And
Yeah.
then I'm sorry, I'm sure I feel sorry for all the people that bought tickets and stuff, and I'm sure they're pretty butthurt about not being able to go to his show, but you know what I mean, he has to watch out for his own well-being, and
Right.
if we want years and years more of Morgan Wallen, he has to take care of his voice, and if he has to take 6 weeks off of that career, then he takes 6 weeks off.
Yeah. 6 weeks off can make the difference of 5 more years or 15 more years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. And Kenny Chesney stepping up. He's doing those festival dates that Morgan had to miss now. So yeah, I just thought it was, we haven't talked about anything newsworthy lately, and obviously all the Morgan Wallen drama that comes across the wire. I felt like we should have touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's worth it. You know, obviously, anytime that he does steps a little out of line, it blows up for everything. And I mean, I guess that's the cost you pay for, having every single song you release hit a Billboard chart.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, let's jump into this interview with Andy, and like I said, he killed it once again. So let's get that going.
All right, everyone, we are here today with singer-songwriter Andy Pursell. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Andy. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thank you for having me. Pretty
Yes,
cool.
this is fun. So we're going to rewind it all the way back, and we'd like to let the listeners know where you grew up and how powerful or important music was in your household.
Well, I grew up. I was born and raised in Arcadia, Florida. That's where I reside now, and just it's a little one-horse town. It's known for its orange groves and cattle.
Mhm.
That's the industry that rolls through this little town, and the music part. Growing up, man, I like all kinds of music. I like music that moves you, and I've always been a mover, man, all the time. Always, at parties and stuff, just love to dance and have a good time. And growing up, my grandfather, my mom's side, was a jazz musician, and I used to always watch him play all the time and wonder, how do you do that? And he was all self-taught by ear, and he could never teach me.
Yeah.
But I was always intrigued by his playing. I'll never forget that growing up. He's passed on now, but I always remember that. My mom, she was a rocker, man, true and true, just
Yeah.
70s, 80s, still rocking today, man. And my dad, he was into the oldies music, and his family was gospel. So I grew up in the church growing, my grandpa used to come and get my sister and I every Sunday and go to church. And we did that for a long time. And so that was kind of embedded in us, all well-rounded around music. The
Mhm.
country part comes from my small town growing up. You just can't get away from it,
Yeah.
where your friends, everybody. I mean, you're constantly in country music, no
Yeah.
matter where you are. We got the oldest rodeo in the state of Florida, so
All
they
right.
call it the granddaddy of them all. So it's a really big event every year. It's been going on for a long time. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all well-rounded, man.
I like that. I used to do these open mic nights, and I'm an audio engineer, for my day job, and we would have these jazz musicians come in, and when you watch them, you're just like, it always messes with me. I'm like, do they actually know what they're playing? Because it's just like all over the place, like they're noodling and stuff like that. And like, I wish Ronnie was on because he knows more about the jazz side than I could ever do it. But like, as I sat and talked to these guys, you're like, yeah, these guys know more about music than I could ever think of. you know,
Yeah,
these
inside
guitar
and out.
players, yeah, and they just know. But no, that's cool. I actually grew up in a smaller town too, and same type of thing, man. It was always country music all around. My mom was a rocker or like a hippie, more or less. She was
Mm-hmm.
into like Fleetwood Macs and Bob Seger and stuff like that. And then my dad was always a country guy. Um, that's cool. And the other thing that we might have in common is we're based out here in New Jersey, and their claim is that they have one of the oldest weekly running rodeos in the country, which is crazy. The Cowtown
Oh,
Rodeo.
really?
Yeah. Um, which is
Yeah.
fun, man. I love it. It's like Saturday night to go down there and hang out. It's like it beats the heck
It's
out
something.
of
Yeah.
anything else, man.
Yeah, it's something cool. A lot of people come to your town to participate, so you get to see a whole new realm of people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's cool too.
All right. So, was there ever a moment, or do you recall a moment that you figured out that music was going to be the thing that you're going to pursue?
Man, I'll tell you, I always loved music, and I got a guitar at 18, and I I took a few lessons, and that, at the time of 18, I was graduating high school, and I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life at the time. And I ended up getting into power lines, and right out of high school. And power lines, it's a busy occupation, man. You work some crazy hours. So in my spare time, I was trying to take lessons from my neighbor. My neighbor was a really good guitarist, and I put it down, and I didn't. I I just got too busy, and line work started picking up, and it kind of took it on a different route in my life. Um, but I can get in. I can write a story about what's happened in this music thing.
Yeah.
I wrote a song, and that's how it started, man.
Yeah.
And it's it's a long story, man. I'm gonna shorten it, but I started taking lessons all around the whole state of Florida, like where I was working at the power company, because I used to go in the guitar store and just love to hear people pick up a guitar and just jam, and wish I could do that so much, man. Just to even play something, because I had a guitar, it was in my blood, but I just couldn't pick it up. I was wondering, man, how do you do that? So I started taking lessons all around the state, wherever I was working, just to play with somebody, just to jam.
Yeah.
And some teachers, they'll say, "Do you want to learn song, or do you want to learn how to read music?" And it was either or. It's just kind of how I was feeling and how much time I had. And I just never put it down, man. I started playing all the time, and just learned all your basic chords, and just kept going. And my sister's a songwriter. Just she can write. She writes children's books and all this stuff. And she wrote a few songs and recorded them. And I was like, man, how do you do that? And she was just like, I just take words and a melody and put it together. It's just poetry, and just tell a story. And so I had never written a song, and she had thrown me some lines, and tried to mess around with them, and I never could pick it up. And then one day, I lived in an RV for 5 years, all around this whole state. So I was traveling around as a lineman, and in the shower, out of all places, you got the best acoustics in the world. I tell that in the band. I always ask, "Who's anybody singing in the shower out here?" There's like two people. I'm like, "For real, only two people out here?" And it's pretty cool, man. The first line was watching football Sunday, maybe thinking one day might catch a real live game. And I was thinking about the fans' experience at events, and I ended up creating each verse at an event that I experienced: racing, concerts, baseball, and I called it The Fans. Recorded it at home, took it into and work. I was going in the midnight shift, and the guys were like, "Man," and I played it on the radio, just me and the guitar, and the guy was like, "Man, you got to put that on the radio." And I was like, "For real?" And he's like, "Yeah." So that's how it started, man. I just kept chasing it, but man, it's a crazy story, man.
That's
and
good.
it just kept going. I wanted to pursue a studio. A power line fell down this guy's yard in 2012, Tropical Storm Debbie. And the guys across town called me and said, "Hey, man, we found you a studio where you could record at." By then, I had written a couple more songs. And I just wanted to do this just to say I did it in my life. And it was cool. Hey, I recorded a song, and then one thing led to another. Started a music foundation, and in that foundation, American Idol kid come out of there. He was cut number 5 in 2014.
Oh, wow.
Sam Wolf.
Yeah.
And things just started blossoming from there, man. It's just crazy. I went from farmer's market to an opening act at the homecoming concert at a civic center for him, just sing by myself with the tracks I recorded. And then about 2 years later, I started the band. And then within a year and a half, we opened for John Michael Montgomery. And I've had a band a little over 7 years, and we've opened for 12 national artists now. So just all independently grinding, man.
Yeah, that's good though. That's good though, man. I like hearing that. The perseverance of constantly push it and constantly wanting to get better, and then how those things kind of fall into your lap. I wanted to bring up, you stated here that you're lineman for the Florida Power and Light. And do you ever see like where one complements the other or one pushes the other type of thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm
Yeah.
actually full blown musician now. I quit line work 2 years ago to chase
Oh,
this
no.
little dream, man.
Yeah.
And but I've written a lot of songs in the cab of the truck, man, just driving, because you spend 16-hour days in that truck, man. And just, the ideas pop up. I mean, it's just you and the radio, and I was a troubleman for 8 years, so I was by myself, so you get a lot of one lines that you can put together, and be like, man, that sounds pretty cool, you just kind of work from there.
And I can only imagine too, traveling all around Florida, the change of scenery is also, helpful in something like that, where you're experiencing different, atmospheres and different things that are going on. And then, like you said, you were able to, help out a recording studio, and that must have been a cool, like, full circle thing going on.
Man, I'll tell you, I mean, I don't like, I'm doing this and I'm like, man, I don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I'd have done that because I had the opportunity, because I've had a lot of great opportunities, and it's hard work, man, no doubt. And once the door is open, you better knock it down, because there's 1,000 other people right behind you, so, and the window is like that big, so. But yeah, things just happen, man. I learned so much in the studio with the foundation. I learned to all about sound and hooking up bands, and we do festivals from dark to dark, man. And I just volunteer my time just to learn. Now
Yeah,
I have like 2 PA systems I run,
nice.
with the band. I have a sound man too, but sometimes I have to run it,
Yeah,
but and if you don't know, I mean, that's just you got to know everything about what you're doing,
yeah,
so if something happens, you got to be able to correct it, the best you can, at least.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That
but
was
yeah, it's been a crazy journey.
always my drive too, when I had decided to get into studio work and learning, the audio engineering side of it. Is I was, a musician myself, and I remember stepping into a studio with my cousin, and he was a very good audio engineer. He's like being an artist is great. He's like, but you don't want to not know what's going on in the recording. He's like, learn this part. He goes, once you can figure that out, he goes, then as an artist, you can start putting in input, because like, as like a engineer, you get told things all the time, especially like, like at a live show, or like, oh, this guy's kind of loud, and it's like, stop.
Hmm. Yeah, all the time, man.
Yeah.
Too loud, or yeah, you get all that stuff, you can't please everybody,
No, no, you
but
can't please everybody, and
nah.
everybody's a professional.
Yeah, but it's definitely a learning experience, that whole sound. I mean, I would say, 75-80% is sound, for a band, and the rest of us talent, the
Yeah,
15, because I mean, if you ain't sounding good out front, man,
yeah,
or the band can't hear themselves, then
yeah.
you're not gonna have a good product, right?
No,
So
that's right, man. That, and the I don't know if you play to in ears, but the monitor mix. If for those that don't know, when you're on stage, you have speakers that are firing back at you, and you can kind of customize on what you want to hear. And if you can't hear yourself, or you can't hear, a certain, rhythm section in that, man, then it all starts falling apart, and the people in the audience are like, what is going on? And it's really not your fault. You just can't hear anything that's happening.
yeah, you fall off the tracks
Yeah,
all the time. You gotta get the train, and you
yeah.
fall off real easy, man. Real easy. Yeah.
So you had mentioned, songwriting, and that, your sister's also a songwriter, um, and then writing, hours and hours in the cab of trucks. How about you, like, break down like your songwriting process and what that looks like, and where you draw inspiration from?
Okay, I'm more inspirational writer, man. Like, everything that I've written is because something I've experienced in my life, and I do more descriptive writing, like more writing about somebody else than what I'm doing.
Mhm.
It's like I can tell a story about somebody else better and what I'm seeing. But it's usually like the first line for me, like the first line, and then I kind of build it from there. And you kind of, and I've had a couple songs that I've started with the title, and kind of wrapped it around. Like one is a patriotic song that I had. It's called Country Boy Legacy. And the story behind it is I was thinking of, at first I was calling it Country Boy Luxuries, like the luxuries of a country boy, tobacco, spitting, fishing, hunting, all that camo. And I was starting an idea around it. And then a moving truck passed by. I was in the cab of the power truck and it said Legacy Movers. And I said, Country Boy Legacy. Now, and then I start, and during that week, like my grandfather, he was my dad's dad, he's a World War II veteran, and he's passed on now. But at the time, when he was with it, I was talking to him at the kitchen table, and he was telling me stories about what was going on overseas, and I was like, man, that's crazy. And so I started rapping that idea. And then I started thinking about my buddies when we dropped them off at 18 at the recruiting center. Those are things that you'll never forget, when they're going to the Marines, and you just, those are, it's giving me chill bumps now just talking about it, because those are moments that you'll never forget. And I started wrapping all this around the legacy of a country boy. So not only the boy, he's a country boy over here. My idea was about a guy who's 18, joined the military, and he fights and dies for our country. He's a country boy here, but he's leaving his legacy over there, here as well. But he's a soldier. So he's wearing camo hat, old t-shirt with a tattoo, and he's not afraid to bleed. He's tough. And then, and then he passes, and then the next, he's wearing camo boots with a camouflage suit. It's kind of just tells the story of a soldier. And it's, and it just came to, man. Once I got it, but that was pretty wild how it spun. You never know where the ideas go,
Yeah, that's good. We've had it, a couple of songwriters here on the show, and they talk about, as a songwriter, you just have a little bit taller antennas. So you just kind of like pick up things a little bit easier than the most people can see things, and then you could dive into it a little deeper and things like that. And yeah, I love that. I love that you can, the idea of pulling inspiration just from, like I said, a passing truck, can totally change the route of how a song can go. And that is super cool. Then, I have a similar, connection to that. My best friend and my, best man at my wedding, when he decided to join the military, he didn't get a warm welcome at the time, when it was happening, and he ended up leaving his house, and he came and moved in with me, and we lived, he lived at my house for a year and a half before he left for the military. And the night that he called me and he's just like, hey man, I just told my folks that, that I joined the military and that I'm leaving home. And I had a song written called Leaving Home before he made it to my house. A bunch of mine were just sitting there, and we were brainstorming songs and stuff. And I got off the phone with him, and I was like, Leaving Home. And he's like, oh, that's great, man. And we just ripped out a whole song about it. And since then, he's a Omaha cop now, and he's a badass dude, man.
Yeah, he's got the experience now.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. You never know how these songs come about.
Yeah.
They're just, some of them will write themselves, just once you start in it. And some of them I have that I've got writer's block, man. I don't know where it's going. Talk about a dirt road, and now here I am at a creek. I'm like, or I'm uptown, like, I don't know. Sometimes we just sit there and think and put it on the back burner and try to hit it again one day, or there's a line in that song you might steal from this song. And but that's crazy.
The best advice that I ever heard was that, great songs aren't written, they're rewritten.
That's it. You hear that a lot too.
Yeah.
You can rewrite the song, then you're labeled a songwriter,
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely a learning experience for me. I've never been in the Nashville scene of pro writers. These new songs that I have, I have the sound man actually that's been my sound man for a few years now. He used to be with a band and hometown guy in Arcadia for like 9 years, and they were all over, man. And he ended up being buddies with a guy who went to Nashville for 30 years writing. And I was talking to him about music, and he was like, man, why don't you check out his catalog, man, and talk to him. And I looked at his music. I was like, man, that's some really cool music, man. And that stuff. So I ended up working with him, and I have a couple of his songs that he's co-written with other big writers. And now that I'm bringing those songs back to life, that they might have not ever been heard, and they're really cool. This new one that we have, Right Amount of Wrong, it was written by him, and his name is Terry Dennis, and Ryan Griffin, who Ryan is just got signed with Red Street Records with Jay DeMarcus, so I think he's going to have a song out on radio here pretty soon. But yeah, it's crazy how that stuff works, man.
Like you said, man, when the doors open, you gotta kick them in, and just take advantage of it. Well, I think this is a really great spot for us to kind of take our break and play the song that you were just talking about. You want to go ahead and announce that for our listeners?
Yeah, this is a song. It's about this girl who's knocking everybody's socks off, turning everybody's head. She's, in our video, she's beating everybody at her game, and it's kind of a contemporary throwback of the Redneck Girl and Bellamy Brothers. It's got that 90s vibe, man. We got a cool line dance, and it's called Right Amount of Wrong.
Classic Country 104.5, Mark in the morning here. That was the conversation with Waylon Jennings and Hank Williams Jr. I wish I could have been in the room for that, but you don't have to wish to be in the room for this. Tonight, Rattler's Old West Saloon, Andy Pursell and his guys will be down there. Get down with the get down. Put your best clothes on. Head on down there for a great show. 7 p.m. Rattler's Old West Saloon, Andy Pursell.
Andy, what are you doing back in town?
Hey Jay, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
We're gonna be down at Rattlers tonight at 7 o'clock.
Oh, tell Dee and the boys that I said hi.
I'll definitely do that.
Oh, Andy, be sure and tip JC.
Oh, I won't forget.
I'm sure proud of you.
We'll see you later. Thanks, Jed.
She'll get down and dirty, she ain't afraid of work. She leaves a few unbuttoned when she wears that flannel shirt. She's got a certain smile when she wants to play. You know she drives me crazy with her not-so-lady ways. Sunday dress just a little too tight, skinny dipping in the broad daylight. That girl turns me on. She's just the right amount of wrong for me. Dash her trash, talking sexy, walking. She's so awesome, she's the perfect blend of nice and all the innocence with a touch of sin on her own. She's just the right amount of wrong. She gets a little flirty in the back view of a church, and when she's feeling frisky, she won't clean up dirty words. She's like a margarita with an extra shot, and when she starts to lose her cool, it's bound to get real hot. She throws me a curve with a body of hers, rocks my world with a denim and pearls. She's got me stringing along. She gets the right amount of wrong for me. Dash her trash, talking sexy, walking. She's so awesome, she's the perfect blend of nice and all the innocence with a touch of sin on her own. She's just the right amount of wrong. She's not like any girl I've ever known. Her twisted and her thinking with a mind of her own. She's unpredictable, that girl's hard to read. She does things differently. She gets the right amount of wrong for me. Dash her trash, talking sexy, walking. She's so awesome, she's the perfect blend of nice and all the innocence with a touch of sin on her own. She's just the right amount of wrong. She's just the right amount of wrong for me. Dash her trash, talking sexy, just the right amount of wrong. That girl's the right amount of wrong. She's just the right amount of wrong.
Just the right amount of wrong for me. That's her trash talking.
Hey, JC, wait up.
She's just the right amount of wrong.
All right, so let's talk about Right Amount of Wrong. Where did you draw that inspiration for that song?
So Right Amount of Wrong was written by Terry Dennis and Ryan Griffin.
Mhm.
And a buddy of mine, who is my sound man, Jody, he was like, man, why don't you check out Terry's catalog? I started digging into his stuff, and I picked a few songs out that I really liked. They were just demos, and he had them up, and I was like, man, these really got that '90s vibe to them, you know. And that he wrote for, like, he said 30 years in Nashville with all the majors, man. And he he said, man, I got 4 filing cabinets full of songs, you know, and I can't believe that these songs have never been out, you know, and there's millions of other songs that you'll never hear, you know, and they're just sitting on a shelf, just waiting for the right moment. And if somebody sees them, they see them. If not, you know, so I'm very blessed to have this kind of music, man, because I think it's something that we need in country music nowadays, man. It's just, it gives you the, you know, a cool feeling that you're bringing back maybe some '90s, or, you know, some '80s feeling or something like that. It's really neat, man. So it's a really cool song, man.
Yeah, I like this song, and you know we can agree on that. The '90s country era was amazing, and that sound needs to make its way back through. But you know, that was one of my notes. Is this has that sound? It has that like fun, you know, playful sound, and then you know the listeners would be remiss if I didn't comment on the steel guitar. It's like the right amount of steel guitar going on in there, and you know. The Telecaster tone is amazing, dude. That is such a good sound, and I apologize. I always speak on the production side of it, so that's just how my ears hear things. This is,
man, those guys are
cool.
talented, man. That's Mike Johnson on the steel, man. He's an award-winning pedal steel player. He plays them all. Pretty much, you hear steel on the radio. Coming out of Nashville, it's him. Cody, he plays on Cody Johnson, Jason Aldean, Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
This guy, they are so amazing. That Telecaster, that's Danny Parks from the Grand Ole Opry Band.
Oh, nice.
Those guys play right live, man. They are live.
Yeah.
You know, so, and Mark Dreyer too, the producer, he played a lot of guitar in there too. So we definitely, it was cool, man, to put that all together. It was fun.
You know, the one thing that I caught that I really like in any song is the harmonizing guitars, and I think anytime that you have that cool harmonizing of the two parts together playing the same thing, super cool, man. Yeah, this is a really fun song. I definitely dig it. So the Right Amount of Wrong was released in March. How's the response been for that song itself? And now that you have the video, what year Ford was that in that video?
That's actually my truck. I bought it for the video. I always wanted an old truck, you know, and I got it. I was like, man, I really like that truck, and I think it would really be good in the video. But it's actually a '77 Ford.
Oh,
they
nice.
redid it. It got the '79 grill, you know, the front end on it.
Yeah,
it's got a 460 in it, man. That thing's super nice, man. Yeah. And man, it was really cool in the video too, man. Like the response on the song, hands down, everybody's been just amazing. OMGs, I see that all over in posts and stuff, and like it's got that '90s. They're like, man, it's taking me back a little, you know, and it's you know, it's fun. We got a really cool line dance, so. When we put this video together, I'm really good friends with Jared Allen, who's over Crazy Horse Productions. He's out of Oklahoma. My wife's from Oklahoma, so there's an Oklahoma connection with this music here, man. And there's a lot of people that are country singers from Oklahoma, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so I met Jared about 4 or 5 years ago, and he's been following me around with a camera. He was into acting and all that, and he's done all my music videos. and we just keep getting better and better. And he's got all the connections in that world, you know, for actors and actresses and, you know, production managers and cameras and lighting. And this one, we just went all in, 35 people production crew in my hometown, Arcadia, which my town, they brought it, man. It was awesome, man. Like I had a vision for this song to bring back. I tell people, if you watch Dukes of Hazzard, Urban Cowboy, and Coyote Ugly, and you kind of mix them all together, that's what we got. You know, it takes back. There's an old gas station in my town called Jed's, and it's no longer. It shut down in the early '90s, but it used to have the best fried chicken and potato wedges and gizzards and like everything, man. And I wanted to film there because it's just a lot of memories, you know. And so we got old gas pumps we brought in. We got in logos. It was a lot of work, man, and behind the scenes. And we kind of told the story. And if the old man that plays in that video, his name is Les McDowell, and he's played in all the major videos that I have. He's a cowboy. And the Salt Life, Living in the Salt Life, he's in that one too as well. And we brought him back in this one. And he's an actor. He's got like an old TV show called Dry Creek. He's built this 1800s old west town in his ranch. It was property. I mean, him and a few other people, they put this whole town, and they started filming a TV show called Dry Creek. And he's an award-winning he's a CMA award-winning DJ. Back in the day, this guy's been all over, man. He's so talented. At 99.5 QIK in Tampa. And he's an actor. Jared reached out to him and said, hey, man, you want to play Jed? And, you know, and he's kind of got that Uncle Jesse, Boss Hog type of feel in this video, you know. And so we brought him in. We did casting for the actresses. I've never been a part of that. We kind of just did a casting call, and we had like 15 enter, 11 videos, 7 or 8 showed up for live auditions, and it was really cool, man. We ended up picking, I think, 6 girls, and man, they hit it out the park, man. And we had Liz. Liz came in. She worked with back in the day with "Give Me That Wink" with Neil McCoy.
Oh, okay.
And a couple other videos. She was a choreographer for him. So we brought her in, and she worked with Jared on some other movies and stuff. And she created a line dance for this song. And that's what you see in the video. The girls are doing that dance, and it was an amazing production, man. The film, Old West Saloon in Arcadia, is called Rattlers. We brought, you know, all the town, all the extras came in on a Tuesday night. I mean, it was packed on a Tuesday. It was really cool. We got a little country radio station in town, and it's the DJ. I grew up with him, and it's called Classic Country 104.5, but it's called Bangin' the Twang. You know, and it's a really cool station, man. It's got some old school country and everything. The whole production was just awesome, man. Everybody was happy, and we did 2 days of filming, and we got 4 hours sleep each night, and it was intense amount of work. I mean, and you can see it online, man. We just launched it on Friday, and Country Rebel. I don't know if you know who Country Rebel is, man. They posted it, and they put it out there. They debuted it. We call it the online debut. On their Instagram and Facebook, and it's really getting a lot of good reviews on it, man. And we're so happy, man, because you create something. You know, I tell even music videos and songs, it's all a canvas, right? And we're all artists, every one of us, all the way back to even the extras. You know, the people that are in there, and we're all throwing our paint on this canvas, and you create this masterpiece. You know, and you hope that it does well, and if you know if other people can share memories from that song, or you know, pretty cool how stuff was put together.
Yeah, I dig. I love when you have like this song. The song is amazing, and it stands on its own, and it's really great. and then you can throw the visual aspect on it and kind of, you pull so much more, not more people, but it pulls that attention so much closer to the song. They start to kind of live those lives again and stuff. And I definitely appreciate it. And it is nice when, you put all that work into it and then have the payout. And like I said, the music video is great. I love the truck, man. I'm an old Ford guy, myself.
Awesome.
So I love it. And yeah, cool video, cool, amazing song. Definitely would suggest, our listeners to go check out both of them. But want to move a little bit away. So you had mentioned that you had opened for, a handful of artists, John Michael Montgomery, Clay Walker, Billy Currington, just to name a couple. Do you have we always like to ask, do you have a favorite show or show memory, tour memory of going out?
Well, for an artist that I've crossed paths with the most, and as an inspiration to me, is Neil McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever seen him, but if he's close by, man, catch his show, man, because he's all across the board. He does Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, to his stuff, to Charlie Pride.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is a big entertainer, man. And I've crossed paths with him a few times at shows, and I've opened for him, and he's gave me inspiration, a lot of vocal lessons, because I asked him, and I posted that video because Blake Shelton had asked him. He put his name in the hat to take his seat on The Voice.
Oh,
Neil could pull it off, man. That guy, he's very quick-witted, man. And I had that video from a while back, man. And I was asking him about vocal training, because I had lost my voice like 3 weeks prior to that gig, and it was going to be a really big gig, man. And I was like, I cannot miss this. And I couldn't talk on Monday, and here we are on Friday night opening for him. Wow. Like on Wednesday, it started coming back after 3 weeks, man. Wow. And we pulled it off, and I just talked to him, and said, hey, how do you what do you do to keep your vocals when you're playing that many shows? He said, lots of sleep, get sleep and water, and let the microphone do the work. He said, don't show out. He said, just like that, don't show out. He said, let that microphone, don't try to push it too hard.
Yeah.
It was cool, man, just to hear it from him, because, man, he's a legend in my book. Just because he's still grinding. I keep up with him all the time, man.
No, that's good to hear. I love Neil McCoy too, man. And again, that 90s country era it was absolutely amazing. The artists that came through there, and, him being one of them. So yeah, I mean, I think that's fun. We're going to step outside of music for a little bit. We had noticed, I myself, avid, saltwater fisherman and freshwater fisherman and active hunter, but you're brand ambassador for Salt Life. How'd that opportunity come about for you, and what that's done for you?
So it started with a song. The song "Living in the Salt Life." My sister come up with the idea on that song. She called me on a Saturday and said, "Hey, I've been working on this song. I think you might like it." And it's got to do with fishing, the beach, partying, drinking beer, having a good time, and it's got a really catchy chorus. Mm-hmm. I think you ought to hear it. And she had the first verse and half the chorus. It wasn't even labeled Salt Life yet. And she sang it to me on the phone. And I was like, man, that might be a hit, man. That's catchy, and so I took it in the room. I took what she had. I was on the guitar, and I was in the drop D tuning. That's my favorite tuning, man. It's just got that swampy sound, and I started, doing some basic chord arrangements, and just started the next verse. I started telling stuff that happens around, what we do in the great state of Florida or any other saltwater surrounded areas. You see it all the time, and you can just write. It just writes itself, man. And I started in the verse. I named my wife, my brother-in-law, just naming people that fit the part. What they're doing. And it was cool, man. It just kind of come out all at once, and it was real catchy. And then I went to Nashville and recorded it, and come back, and we finished the video, We pulled the trigger on the video, went out to a place called Beer Can Island. It's in the Tampa Bay. It's off Apollo Beach. You can only get there by boat. What a crazy experience for a major video that I had. I know we had 11 people, 12 people, no, 16 on the production crew. And we filmed 4 days of filming on that video for a 3-minute song, which is crazy. But the first part of the scene we're in, actually, who plays Jed is Les McDowell. He's the old man in the videos. It's at his ranch. It's called Dry Creek, and that's an old town he built. And we filmed there. And the story goes that he's playing banjo on the porch, and he drinks some whiskey and he passes out, and then he wakes up. He's dreaming, and he wakes up on the beach, and he's looking up at these girls, and he's like, "Man, where the heck am I?" And then he's partying the whole time, and he ends up losing his hat, right? And then at the very end, he's like, wakes up, and I'm in his town, and I'm like, "Hey man, you forgot your hat." And I throw his hat to him, and he says, "Hell yeah," because the song says "Hell yeah" a lot, man. But after we did that video, it started picking up a lot of attention around the area, and I had a vision to get it to Salt Life. So we finally ended up getting it to them, and they were like, "Heck yeah, man." And so they took the video and they put their spin on it. They put their brand back in the video, so you can see that version of it too as well. And I've been an ambassador going on a little over 3 years now, and they've been awesome, man. It's a really cool company. They got all kinds of apparel. So in Florida, and I'm sure maybe up on the coastline, you see the stickers all the time in Salt Life, and that's how it started, off the sticker. And then I really didn't dig deep into it until I started looking into the ambassador stuff. I'm like, man, they got everything, coolers and clothing, and I wear it every day now.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. You can pass my word on to it. My wife has a jacked up Jeep Wrangler, and it's bright orange. And she, it was tough for us, but we ended up finding an orange Salt Life sticker for. We only live about 45 minutes from the coast here, but yeah, I'm a big fan. Got the big hats, and when I was a former first mate on a fishing boat in New England. And I remember my captain always yelling at, the novice fishermen, he'd always call them Googans. And I was like, what the heck? And I noticed they had a shirt that said that. And I was like, oh man, I'm totally getting this.
Yeah. You always see that in the fishing tournament. Somebody's got that, like on their team Guggen or something,
Yeah. It's so funny. And once we saw that, I was like, all right, definitely getting in it. That's awesome, man. I love that. I love that opportunity, and I love that a song, brought you to that relationship and that's great. All right, we're gonna kind of start to wrap this up. Anything coming down the line for you want to touch on? Tours?
We're working on some new places. I'm actually this will be my first out-of-state gig. So I'm an independent artist, man. I've been grinding at this, and I truly believe in this. And I don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I'd have done that because I had the opportunity. And I know, like I bought this bus. Like I call it a bus. It's like a van type front end. It's like a Super Duty. I bought it because it had the Power Stroke diesel in it.
There you go.
And I spent 2 years and 3 months remodeling this thing. And I ended up putting 5 bunks, bathroom, kitchen. I mean, all.
Nice.
It was like if you looked in the back of a U-Haul truck, it was empty, just like that. And then I went in there and spent 2 years, 3 months. And now last year we did a little Salt Life tour. We left September, and I'll tell you real quick how hard it is. You got to grind being an independent artist. We come out with a song called "Off the Chain," which is another Terry Dennis song, and we called it "Off the Chain Salt Life Tour." So I drove for 6 days, 2,800 miles, all the way around the whole peninsula of Florida, all the way up. I went to South Carolina. I went to 3 places up: Charleston and Myrtle Beach, and I went to venues that were close to the Salt Life stores. Salt
Mhm.
Life has their own stores too as well,
Mhm.
like brick and mortar stores. And I wanted to play some clubs or bars or something on the beach close to them, and we did raffles, and we had $300 box giveaways from Salt Life that we did raffles, and
Yeah.
I went for 13 gigs. I got 11 out of the 13, and we started September Labor Day weekend in Key West. Well, mile marker 27, right close to Key West. And then we drove all over every Saturday and hit a little beach bar, all in Florida. We did the whole peninsula in that bus that I worked on for 2 years and 3 months. So it was crazy. I couldn't believe we were sitting there. I was like, man, I can't believe we stayed in the KOA, like
Yeah.
it was cool, man. It was like a great feeling that that you're working hard on something, and everybody appreciates it, man. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. Like I said, I told you that from the beginning, is that, I love that style of artistry, that just, down and dirty, we're going to get this done, even if it breaks me type of thing, man. And that brings out, I think, one of the, the best artists, there is. I mean, we watched it with Cody Johnson. We watched it happen with him. He just wouldn't back down. He believed in what he believed in, and he just had it, man. And people, slowly building that thing up. He's blown up since it. And
Man, big time.
I definitely think, you're in that vein, dude. And I think it's going to be great. So saying that, as we pull this to a close, do you want to let the listeners know where they can find you and your music online to follow along?
Yeah, it's AndyPursellMusic.com. My last name spelled with an S. A lot of people spell it with a C. It was Pursell music.com. We have Facebook and all of the social platforms, Twitter, Instagram, all of them. And I'm constantly on there, posting stuff, and we might be close to you. Our first out of state gig is going to be in West Virginia Labor Day weekend. So that's going to be pretty cool, pretty exciting trip. And yeah, if we're close to you, come on out and see us, man. We got one heck of a show. I always this is my motto: we're going to make the grass dance and the asphalt hotter. Give 110 or don't bother. So it don't matter who's out there. We're going to give you one heck of a show. So
Oh man, I love it, man. Well, Andy, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me tonight, man. Thank you.
yes, sir. But definitely, thank you very much for helping out independent artists, man. And we really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so that was our interview with Andy Pursell. And Brian, once again, great job. You're killing it with these solo performances. But yeah, how was chatting with Andy?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Andy, and we went through a whole bunch of stuff, and we connected on a lot too. He's we chatted there at the end about his Salt Life ambassadorship, and I think it's awesome, man. That's like one thing that I would love, getting that type of a connection. And then, from the very beginning, we were talking about rodeoing, and then, the life that he lived, coming from being a power guy, and being able to like circumnavigate Florida and be able to, also play shows and the stuff that he's seen, man. It was such a fun interview.
Yeah, no, it was a blast to listen to. And I wish, in the beginning, you guys talked about his grandfather being a jazz musician, and if it's not country, it's jazz for me. So I was sad to miss that convo, but we'll have to catch up with him and dig into that a little more in the future. But yeah, that Salt Life ambassadorship, that's awesome, and it would be nice to have a few of those. But yeah, I mean, great artist, great songs that we played in the interview and at the end here. Yeah, can't say enough good things about Andy.
Yeah, man. Well, we definitely want to thank Andy for coming on Outside the Circle. Be sure you follow him on all of his social media, music listening platforms. We'll leave you today with Andy Pursell's Living the Salt Life.
up on the island, leave the crazy week behind us. Everybody that we know is there. Pull out the beer, turn the radio up. It's time to have some fun. Out in the open, be as loud as we want. We ain't never gonna hurt no one. And if you're looking for some fun, say hell yeah. If you're glad the week is done, say hell yeah. Are you leaving with the sun? Say hell no. Cause we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're living in the salt life. Oh, the anchor of a board, we're floating on the shore. Got our toes running through the sand. Charlie's jumping off the bow, Mandy's swimming all around. Kate's working on her summer tan. Casey's fishing off the back with a cold one in his lap. About to tie one on tonight. Brandon's passing out the shots, we're in our favorite spot, and we're living in the salt life. And if you're looking for some fun, say hell yeah. If you're glad the week is done, say hell yeah. Are you leaving with the sun? Say hell no. Cause we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're living in the salt life. As the sun goes down, we gather around with the fire burning bright. We make a toast to the coast, that means the most, and we're living in the salt life. And if you're looking for some fun, say hell yeah. If you're glad the week is done, say hell yeah. Are you leaving with the sun? Say hell no. Cause we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're living in the salt life. We're living in the salt life. We're living in the salt life.
Hey, old timer, you forget something?